Welcome to Sam's Russian Adventures. I'm Sam, an English guy living in provincial Russia, and today, well, I've decided to make another video with regards to this new law to do with temporary residency in Russia, because I made a video about a week ago about this topic, and I've seen since then that a lot of people have been obviously watching my video and videos like mine and kind of reusing that information to tell you guys about this whole new decree and what you can expect. The problem is that they've left so much out, they've made quite a few mistakes, and I'm really worried that you're going to come to Russia and you're going to get yourself in a load of trouble because you don't really know, well, the things I'm going to share with you today, so keep watching. So I've decided to come for a walk in this park today, a nice little town park, and loads of things going on everywhere, and yeah, got some people behind me shouting at me, and yeah, let's just go for a little bit of a walk and talk. So the residency permit is something you're going to apply for once you're in Russia, but the thing is, you need to be aware of what type of visa are you going to come to Russia on. A lot of people say, I'm going to come on a work visa and get a job there. That's not how it works. A work visa is connected to the company that you decide to work for or decides to employ you. If you want to hunt for a job and you find a job, you apply for the job, what will happen is, once you've been accepted, the company will send you an invitation so you can come to work for that company. You can only work for that company. It's not a work visa that you can then go and change jobs. No, the work visa is specific for the company that invited you and you're working for them. And if you decide not to work for them, well, the visa's cancelled. The same with a tourist visa, right? If you come on a tourist visa, you've got 3 months in Russia on that tourist visa. So you can come on a tourist visa and apply for residency, just as you can come on a work visa and apply for residency. But the thing is, if you come on a tourist visa, you've got a 3-month tourist visa, and then you come and you apply for residency, which will probably take, at the moment it takes 3 months to prepare. What will happen is, from the moment you apply for the temporary residency, they'll freeze that current visa, and then it will take 3 months for your temporary residency to be made. So you're not going to be working for 6 months, and you've got to be aware of that. You're not going to have a job, you can't work until you get your temporary residency permit. So you're going to be in Russia for 6 months with no job. So you need to prepare. You need to have money set aside if you're going to come here as a tourist and apply for residency. Because, as I said, and I'll repeat it, you cannot work as a tourist, and also you can't leave Russia, because that visa will be frozen, and the likelihood it will have expired by the time you receive your residency permit. So until you receive your residency permit, you're stuck in Russia, in that location, waiting for your residency permit to be made. This is really, really important. Now, I've mentioned in other videos, business visas. A business visa is not a visa that you come to Russia to open a business on. That's false. A business visa is a visa that you use to come to Russia to attend business events and conferences. You can't get a business visa and come to Russia and open a business. That is not true at all. So this park is really popular in winter because people go skiing here, and I think in this place here people hire their skis. Here it says the place for renting your skis and skates, and obviously there's no snow right now, and this area here in winter, this is going to be a skating ring and possibly an ice hockey pitch also. So as a resident in Russia, you have to work, you have to earn income, and you have to prove that to the immigration department. Every year that you have temporary residency, you're going to have to send a declaration to show your earnings, to show that you've earned at least the minimum wage in Russia. Now, this can either be through a job or through an investment where you live off the dividends, but it has to be an investment from within Russia. You have to show that from within Russia, either through work or through an investment, that you have earned at least the minimum wage every month. So once a year, you have to send this declaration to the immigration department, and if you can't prove that, well, so in Russian parks, you've got a lot of concrete and benches around. There's kind of like little kind of walkways and pathways, and then lots of these kind of main square areas with benches and kind of areas for people to congregate. I don't know if that's like that in your parks. In the UK, I can't remember there being that many kind of areas like this where people can kind of get together and sit around. So in Russia, they're always making these little bird boxes, putting bird feed in them to attract the birds into the area. And even if they haven't got nice bird boxes, well, they make kind of these type of bird boxes. I don't think the birds care too much. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, if I get to the end of my 3-year residency, you know, do I apply for permanent residency? Yes, but at that point you have to take the exam. And so you have to take a test to show your Russian language skills, to show your history, knowledge of laws, and just general knowledge about Russia. And so if you're not ready for that, well, I've heard people say, oh, you know, there's a special one-off thing that's happening that you can, well, reapply. That's not a special one-off thing. You've always been able to reapply. You have to leave the country because obviously your residency allows you to stay here. Your residency finishes, you'll have to leave the country, go home, and then reapply. So I've chosen the loudest place to film, but as you can see, we've got a kind of, I don't know, children's kind of play area here. This is like the center of the park. Obviously I'm not going to stick my camera there and show it all completely because someone will have a go at me, but here we go. This is the center of the park. Here is the park administration, it says. Also, I've heard people say that there's a new rule now that you can apply for permanent residency after only 8 months. That rule's always been the same. As soon as you've done your first year declaration, as soon as you've shown to immigration how much you've earned, and this is like a window at the end of your first year, you have like a 3 or 4 month period where you have to go to immigration, go to the police, wherever it is that you did your or received your residency, and you have to go there and show that you've been earning money or whatever. And at that point you can then apply for permanent residency if you're ready to take the test. And we've got lots of different creatures here. Another thing that is vitally important that no one's touched on, and I know the reason that no one's touched on this is because the people that have been giving you the information, well, they just don't know this information because they've been getting this information from people like me who've been making the videos about this. Your residency permit is not a visa. Your residency permit is a stamp inside your passport to show that you're a resident. So if you're thinking to travel, you can't travel. You have to go to immigration and ask for a separate visa that they will make for you and stick inside your passport. And this is really important because I've known so many people over the years who think, well, I've got residency, I've got the stamp in my passport, I can go and leave Russia and come back and travel. But you can't unless you have a separate visa to allow you to travel. And so many people will buy tickets for a holiday or say they're going home, they'll go to the airport and the immigration will say, well, where's your visa? They'll be like, I've got residency. They will say, well, residency is a stamp to say that you can live in Russia, but you need a visa if you want to travel. So make sure you don't fall for that mistake. And here we go, is he gonna... Ooh. Another thing is that the residency permit requires you to stay in Russia for at least 183 days throughout the year. If you stay for less, if you go somewhere and travel and don't come back within that year, and that year is from the moment you received your residency until the year is completed, if you are spending less time in Russia, then again, you'll lose your residency permit. So this is vital to know this stuff. And here it says if you make a fire here, you can get a fine of up to 5,000 rubles. So I recommend that if you're going to come to Russia to apply for a residency permit, that you come to Russia on a work visa to work for a particular company. Because if you come on a tourist visa, as I've said already, you're not going to be able to work until you receive residency. So you could be here up to 6 months without being able to earn any money at all. But if you come on a work visa, then you can be working while you're waiting for your residency to be made. Now, how do you go about finding a job? Well, I think you need to look at this whole project long term. So you want to get yourself a job that's going to be easy to get, that's going to give you some sort of stability in Russia, and it's going to give you, well, the best way to put it is almost like a family. And the best way to do that is to come here as a teacher of English, because teachers of English are in demand. Now, you don't really have to be a teacher, right? You can do a weekend course to get the TEFL certificate, and there you go, you're qualified to teach. And you can teach in any one of the hundreds or thousands of private schools in Russia. They're going to be glad to have you as a teacher, because what they need to be able to do is market that they've got a native speaker, and it's going to be amazing for them to say, we have John from America or Dan from England, right? So it's going to be great for their marketing. You're going to get paid a normal salary. They're going to find you a place to live, and also the people that you teach, because it's a private school, you're going to be teaching adults more than likely, and so you're going to make friends with your students. They're going to invite you to places. You're going to start to learn about Russia, and it's almost like this immediate family that you've got, this support network that's really going to help you. So if you'd like to know where to search for jobs, I'll put the site below. It's called hh.ru, and that basically stands for headhunter.ru. And what that site will do is it'll have hundreds of ads where you can apply for teaching positions, come to Russia on a work visa, work while you're waiting for your temporary residency to be made, and so you're not out of pocket, you're not sitting around thinking, what can I do? Because as a tourist you can't work or you'll be deported, right? It's against the rules. So that is my suggestion. And then of course, once you get your temporary residency permit, you can choose to go and work for somebody else if you want to. You're not tied to that company anymore. Maybe you found another school that pays better. Maybe you found another job that is in your field. But you know, to start with, the best thing you can do is make sure that you're not going to be out of pocket. So the main takeaways from today's video is that decide which visa you're going to come to Russia on. Secondly, be aware that you're going to have to declare your income once a year and prove that you've been earning enough money. Otherwise, you'll lose your residency permit. And then the third one is that be aware that your residency permit is not a visa, it's a stamp in the passport. You spend 183 days minimum inside Russia, and if you want to travel, you need to apply for a travel visa. Otherwise, it's going to be a very expensive holiday that you've planned to go home or go and see someone for Christmas or whatever back home, just to find out that you can't travel and you're stuck in the airport.